If you want to annotate an image in ArcGIS StoryMaps, similar to this map of Middle Earth, there is a way we can do this. We have to trick the program a little bit into thinking that this is actually a real-world located image instead of just a static map. And there is a couple of ways we can do that. So in ArcGIS Online, the first option we're going to click on is Map. And we're going to add a media layer to this map in order to add the image. So on the top left, click Add and select Add a Media Layer. You need to use an image that is 10 megabytes or less. This can be a little challenging for high resolution images, but unfortunately there is a size limitation in the program for JPEGs or PNGs. So for this example, I'm actually going to use a map from Final Fantasy XIV. And you'll notice it'll kind of superimpose it over the top of our base map. I'm going to change the transparency to 0 so we can see the whole image. And what we'll want to do is completely cover up as much of this map as possible without distorting the image too much. So I'm just going to drag this until it covers it and then center it a little bit. Once we get a view that we are okay with, I'm going to click on Update and Close, and our image appears on top of the base map. So the next step we want to do is, because this background is a little bit distracting from our actual image, you want to click on Add, and then change this drop down to Living Atlas. We want this background to be black, just a blank black background. So in the search, we're going to type in blank black background. And this vector base map will appear at the top of the list. We'll add that. And if it appears on top of your image, just click and drag that in the layers list to the top. So here's our actual map that we're working with, and you'll notice that it's covered up that base map, so we don't have to worry about that anymore, and it won't be distracting to our readers. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to save the map. And then once the map is saved, we can add this to ArcGIS StoryMaps and start annotating the image. And the best way to do that, I'm going to go back to the content window, click Create App, and then ArcGIS StoryMap. So in our Middle Earth example right here, this is a type of map tour in order to create these points and these annotated images. So in the menu, we're going to scroll to the bottom and select Map Tour, start from scratch, and we're going to select this Explorer option. You can use the guided tour. The same options are available for each, but just for the example, we're going to do Explorer. And then I'm going to select Grid so it matches that example that we have for Middle Earth, and do Done. So here is our first tool. We want to change this background to be the map that we just created. So I'll click on the Edit pencil, and then in Select Base Map, click on the option for Browse More Maps, and we can select our Final Fantasy map that we just created. So here's our map of Eorzea. And we can start adding our points. So in our first tour point right here, I'll do Add Location and just zoom into the point. Now the challenge is that since we are limited to 10 megabytes, your image may get slightly pixelated if you zoom in really far, and unfortunately this is kind of unavoidable, but just pick view that you are the happiest with or something that looks the best. You can add the point, use current zoom level, and add location, and it will zoom in to that location. If your points get a little bit lost based on the colors and the composition, you can go back to the edit mode and change the point color. So this might depend just on the type of image you're using. You might have to change those points so they stand out a little bit more. In the first title, we're going to add a location and then close out. So there's our first location. Then the second one, I'm gonna go to Gridania and add location, and then zoom to the view we want on the map. Use current zoom level. And then we have our second point. So as we scroll up and down in our preview, go to preview, yes. We have got our 2 tour points that we can zoom to and explore. So in our example, in the map of Middle-earth, we've got our different points that we can navigate to. You can also click on the points themselves and go to the actual information about that location. So this is just an example on how to annotate an image and kind of trick the program into thinking it's an actual map with a geographic reference. And you can use images, but you can also use historical maps. A site I use pretty frequently is the David Rumsey Map Collection, which I will link in the description below. It's an excellent resource for historical maps with very good resolution. Good luck with your projects.